Hey, Doss.
Is that one available there?
Yes, I'm just trying to figure out how to make my camera stand straight. Oh, I guess that's where it wants to be. Did you? You have to. Okay. No, you just like. No, you don't. You look gorgeous. I was asking because you look beautiful. We just need to go on a cruise. So when you did. Oh yeah, no.
So that might be another option where the coverage is better. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's what I was looking at.
because you're like, I don't want to go from the, like, you can just kind of count wherever you have your stuff. It's okay. I know. Well,
This is a 2 years.
I know people who have their fridges out in their areas, they still have.
Yeah, it was terrible. And I raced to get home, and
I know, they didn't, I know.
it was terrible.
It was
So I just told somebody, they're like, I was like, you don't understand, this is stress.
Mine does. Did you have the flood?
But you know, my son was in I had hardly seen him, so it was actually, I mean, he still was reading, but I just lost him.
His essence was there in the house.
Yes, it was just
A
like,
moment of whimsy.
yeah. Yeah.
It was the same here.
It's terrible.
Oh, I know.
I know it.
He's like, I was a strong father at different ages. I'm a teenager. Serious therapy. You know, even
Oh, so she's got to pay. Yeah.
No, I know. I'm not that big about that. I was disappointed at myself.
You know what? I didn't
We helped him do better.
No.
And then I think I just put it together. No, it's
No, the others don't have
my
it.
younger
Yeah.
one turns 20. I
There's kind of a combination.
He's turning 20 this week. So I won't.
Okay, I wanted to give you that option.
Okay.
I just really can't get everybody in here.
Look at me, yeah.
Sit over later.
I don't seem like the mom of 3 adults.
Speak at you guys?
We got started at 92.
I don't know. This is a crowd I don't have my back to.
Yeah, I don't have to read.
I can give up the T2.
Okay.
Okay, has anybody who wishes to speak signed in? Okay. I'm Jennifer Gerd, Chief Administrative Officer for the Colorado Department of Agriculture. The Commissioner of Agriculture, Don Brown, has delegated authority to me to conduct this rulemaking hearing. This hearing commences at 2:00 p.m. on Thursday, January 19, 2017. This rulemaking hearing is being conducted in accordance with the State Administrative Procedure Act, Sections 24-4-101 through 108 of the Colorado Revised Statutes, consistent with the notice of rulemaking that was published in the Colorado Register on the 25th day of December 2016. Copies of the proposed rule are available on the table behind me. This hearing is concerning proposed revisions to rules pertaining to the administration and enforcement of the Industrial Hemp Regulatory Program Act at 8 CCR 1203-23. The purpose of this rulemaking is to amend definitions, amend variety location requirements, allow the removal of unwanted male cannabis plants prior to harvest, clarify requirements for CDA-approved certified seed, and clarify the CDA-approved certified seed process. Other changes include typographical, grammatical, and non-substantive changes throughout the rule for clarification. This is the only hearing scheduled for this rule. Its purpose is to allow all interested parties the opportunity to present data, views, and arguments pertaining to the proposed rules. Your presentation may be written, oral, or both. Oral presentations will be limited to 5 minutes each. Please confine your comments to the issues presented by the proposed rules. At the conclusion of your presentation, I may ask questions of you concerning your presentation or any other relevant issues. Any person who speaks at this hearing must record his or her name and address on the sign-in sheet located on the table behind me. If you are representing an organization, you must identify the name of the organization as well. If you have written comments or other information that you would like to submit for consideration, please give those documents to me at the time of your oral presentation or deliver them to me by close of business today. The Commissioner will consider all oral comments and written information submitted. Once the rules are finalized, they will be presented to the Colorado Agricultural Commission for discussion and approval at a meeting on Wednesday, February 8, 2017. The public is welcome to attend that meeting. However, additional public comment on this proposed rule will not be taken. If approved by the Commission, the final rules will be adopted by the Commissioner and published in the Colorado Code of Regulations. They will become effective on March 30th, 2017. Dwayne, would you please identify yourself for the record and present the proposed rule?
My name's Dwayne Sinning. I am the Assistant Director of Plant Industries at the Colorado Department of Ag. So I will go through the rules that we propose to change and the purpose for those changes in the rules. First one is a definition in 1.2 that will now read: CDA-approved certified seed means cannabis seed that is approved and labeled by the Department for cultivating industrial hemp. That definition was changed to the CDA-approved certified seed to clarify that the term CDA-approved certified seed is specific to seed lots that meet the program standards and not just a variety name. Harvest means the termination under 1.6 of the cultivation process or the movement of industrial hemp from a registered land area to another location or movement within a registered land area between indoor and outdoor planting areas. That definition was amended to clarify that the term includes the normal and common practice of reaping a mature plant. That was missing as we addressed it before. We addressed the specific situation. It didn't include the common term. Under Part 2, there's several related rule changes in the registration and reporting process. I'll read all of those sections and then describe how they all tie together and the reasoning behind those proposed changes. 2.1, each applicant for a commercial industrial hemp registration shall submit a signed, complete, accurate, and legible application form provided by the commissioner at least 30 days prior to planting, which includes the following information. And there, 2.16, we will strike out the location of different varieties within the growing areas, if applicable. 2.11 is similar, only it's for research and development. Each applicant for a research and development industrial hemp registration shall submit a signed, complete, accurate, and legible form provided by the commissioner at least 30 days prior to planting, which includes the following information. A map of the registered land area on which the applicant plans to grow industrial hemp, showing the boundaries and dimensions of the growing areas or square feet. The location of different varieties within the area, if applicable. 3.1, prior to planting any cannabis, commercial industrial hemp registrants shall file on a form provided by the commissioner a pre-planting report that includes a description of cannabis varieties to be planted on the registered area, and there we will strike a map showing where they will be planted. All plant material used for the cultivation of cannabis within the registered land area. 3.4 is similar again, only for research and development prior to planting. Each research and development industrial hemp registrant shall file on a form by the commissioner a planting report that includes a description under 3.42, a description of the cannabis varieties to be planted in the registered land area, striking a map showing where they are planted. And all plant material to be used within the registered land area must be included. Then under reports that ties to that, 3.2, within 10 days after planting any cannabis and or 10 days after the emergence of any volunteer cannabis plants in a registered land area, that registrant chooses to cultivate and not destroy. Each commercial registrant shall submit on a form provided by the commissioner a planting report that includes and this is where we will add global positioning system coordinates and a map showing the location and actual acreage or square feet of each variety of cannabis planted or of volunteer cannabis plants that have emerged and are not destroyed within a registered land area. Similarly, in 3.5, within 10 days after planting cannabis and or 10 days after the emergence of volunteer cannabis in a registered land area, that registrant chooses to cultivate and not destroy, each research and development registrant shall submit on a form provided by the commissioner a planting report that includes 3.5.2. This is where we will add the global positioning system coordinates and a map showing the location and actual acreage or square feet of each variety of cannabis planted or of volunteer cannabis plants that have emerged and are not destroyed within the registered land area. The reason for this is the map requirements under rules 2.16, 2.22, 3.12, and 3.42 as part of the pre-planting requirements required premature reporting by registrants when they may not know where that was at. Realigning the time of reporting to the planning report in the rules under reports under 3.22 and 3.52 allows registrants to accurately report their final planting locations at the appropriate time and allows them to stay in compliance. Also under reports, under Part 3, 3.53, a planting report must be submitted anytime cannabis is planted in, moved within a registered land area, except for replanting into a larger container within the same indoor location. That was a change from different to larger, and the reason for that was this reduces the reporting burden for normal occurrences that can happen during the production of any plant material, as a broken container previously would have required a reporting, and all we're doing now is if it's moving up. So it just helps us monitor the cultivation and report it, but doesn't require for those minor things like a broken pot. Under 3.3, at least 30 days prior to harvest, each commercial industrial hemp registrant shall file a harvest report on a form provided by the commissioner that includes, we will be adding 3.34, a registrant is not required to document the removal of male cannabis plants on a harvest report, provided that the male cannabis plants are destroyed or utilized on the registered land area prior to filing a harvest report for the remaining cannabis plants. Similar 3.6, at least 30 days prior to harvest, each research and development industrial hemp registrant shall file a harvest report on a form provided by the commissioner that includes 3.64, a registrant is not required to document the removal of male cannabis plants on a harvest report, provided that the male plants are destroyed or utilized on the registered land area prior to the filing of a harvest report for the remaining cannabis plants. The reason for this is the removal of unwanted male plants is a common practice in breeding programs and all-female production programs. The new rules 3.34 and 3.64 accommodate and facilitate this normal industry practice, eliminating the need to unnecessarily file harvest reports for discarded male plants within some specific parameters. Part 4, inspection and sampling program. We have made a small change to 4.2, and it will now read, in addition to any routine inspection and sampling under Rule 4.1, the Commissioner may inspect and take samples from any registered land area during normal business hours without advance notice if he has reason to believe that the act or these rules may be occurring or now has occurred. The Commissioner may conduct additional inspections and sampling to verify compliance with the reporting requirements of these rules. This clarifies that the Department's investigation for violations may take place or be completed after and not just as the violations occur. Under violations 6.1, in addition to any other violations of Title 35, Article 61 of the Colorado revised statutes or these rules, the following acts or omissions by any applicant, which was added, or registrant, or authorized representative thereof shall constitute violations for which civil penalties up to $2,500 per violation and disciplinary sanctions, including denial of an application which was added, or summary suspension or revocation of a registrant may be imposed by the Commissioner in accordance with this section 3561, 107, and 244104 of the Colorado Revised Statutes. And then further in 6.11, refusal or failure by an applicant, registrant, or authorized representative to fully cooperate with the Department with all aspects of the administration and enforcement of the Act and these rules, including the application, registration, reporting, inspection, and sampling and waiver process. The reason for those was to amend that Part 6 was to reflect the equal importance of cooperation and assistance by not only the registrant once an application is granted, but also by an applicant with all aspects of the administration of the program. This will help us ensure that all the information necessary to ensure compliance with the program can be met. Under 7.1 of the certified, CDA-approved certified hemp seed, 7.1, a variety of industrial hemp may be approved by the Department as CDA-approved certified if it is tested by the Department and confirmed to produce male mature plants with a delta-9 THC concentration of no more than 0.3 on a dry weight basis in approved multiple geographic trials in Colorado. This amendment to Rule 7.1 identifies CDA-approved certified seed as seed that will produce mature plants that will not exceed the 0.3 delta-9 THC concentration standard. The rule distinguishes CDA-approved certified seed from other certified seed not approved by the CDA for which mature plants of the delta-9 THC concentration has not been verified in CDA trials conducted across the state. 7.11, the genetics of the plant material must be accepted by the Colorado Seed Growers Association Variety Review Board or the Variety Review Board of the Association of Seed Certifying Agents. Rule 7.1 was done to establish a system through which a variety review board can ensure that the investments in breeding and the intellectual property rights of breeders are protected. Breeders entering the program must be able to verify and be able to demonstrate ownership of the varieties to a panel of experts by identifying unique characteristics that distinguish their entry from other varieties. 7.12, a variety must fit the description on the application form as submitted to the CSGA or AOSCA Variety Review Board. That Rule 7.12 ensures that the information submitted to the Variety Review Board actually represents the variety when it is viewed in the field and ensures the integrity of the entire process. 7.13, seed must be produced and certified in accordance with the certification requirements of a CDA-approved certifying agency. Rule 7.1 ensures that the same production practices used in other agricultural crops are applied to CDA-approved certified seed lots and ensures that purity and trueness of type are provided to the farmer. Rule 7.14, seed must be labeled with the CDA-approved certifying seed tag. This rule was done to ensure that the labeling requirement in Rule 7.1 provides consumer confidence and easily identifies seed being purchased as true to type and pure and verifies if mature plants of this variety have not surpassed the 0.3% delta 9 THC level in trials across the state of Colorado. And with that, I close.
Okay, so we'll go through our sign-in sheet here. If there's anybody who's changed their mind, there's a second sheet there you can go ahead and complete. So we'll start with Veronica, and if you'll come to the table and identify yourself.
Is it possible I could be last?
Okay, please. Das?
Yes. I didn't hurt my leg. This is the crop. Those of you that are in agriculture may recognize this, but when you're encountering a bin full of grain, this allows you to collect as fair and representative of a sample. So it's one of a number of procedures to avoid prejudicing the collection of a sample and to provide for a randomization level. Nothing is absolute or perfect, and nothing in nature really jumps. So is that you that I give my written testimony to? There you go. So had some interesting conversations recently that have left me looking at more closely at the information available, and so I looked at the actual language of the Colorado Constitution, because that's something that we're not in a position to change. We observe it and enforce it. We don't change it. And it says that industrial hemp means the plant of the genus cannabis in any part of such plant, whether growing or not, with a delta 9 tetrahydrocannabinol concentration that does not exceed, and I emphasize that myself, 0.3% on a dry weight basis. It defines the basis and on dry weight and acknowledges that moisture, water, can be removed from the sample. And then I have the language from your website, which reflects it closely. And my concerns on that is that as I've been speaking with a good number of people relating to the analysis and the risk that they face of having their entire field tainted and declared worthless. Dry weight basis allows for removal of water, but does not allow for concentration of the sample. And normal sample preparation of any sample for analysis for whatever property allows removal of certain materials. And in this case, stems and seeds are well recognized as below regulatory concern related to THC. And so the operating procedure involves removing those stems and seeds. However, if those materials, their weight is not recorded and incorporated into the calculation of THC based on the entire sample, the removal of stem and seed weight from the calculation constitutes the improper concentration of the sample. And based on my field measurements, I found that in many instances the samples of the seed and stem may equal the weight of the flower material, which is subject to investigation. And so the reported numbers, if they are not incorporating the weight of the stem and seeds or any other materials that have been removed, that constitutes a concentration of that sample, which is beyond the jurisdiction of the Agriculture Department. Similarly, the Constitution uses the term delta-9 tetrahydrocannabinol. If the analysis uses equipment which causes chemical change to occur, such as the temperature inside of a gas chromatograph, then that would constitute an improper modification of the sample. These improper activities are clearly beyond the jurisdiction of the department and should be immediately ceased and remedied. And the collection of the sample, the standard operating procedure in the collection of samples does not offer a clearly defined randomization to prevent cherry picking or looking for the most likely to fail. And when a pickpocket meets a saint, all he sees are his pockets. How unfortunate. And so I have always been holding the Agriculture Department in high regard of treating this as a commodity instead of a potential crime scene. And we need to be diligent to protect the integrity of that job. And I work tirelessly to further the commodity status of hemp, our plant, which is long forgotten and newly rediscovered.
Okay. Thank you.
And so it's got my contact information on it for purposes of follow-up. I hope there is a follow-up and some action that addresses these very serious concerns.
Next, I have Matt.
That's me.
That's you?
I think my questions will be better suited for going on private.
Okay. Okay. Nobody else has signed up to testify except for Veronica? Okay.
Thank you. My name is Veronica Carpio, growhempcolorado.com. And I just want to say for the record that I have no objections to any of the real changes this year. Every year I've had some suggestions, but this year none. So I concur. I do want to say for the record that I want to give a sincere thank you on behalf of myself as a hemp registrant and thousands of the members on Grow Hemp Colorado. to the Department of Ag and all the employees, especially in our hemp program. There's been outstanding progress and achievements made in our hemp program, especially in this year, our last year, 2016, all primarily due to the efforts put forth by the staff in our hemp program and the commissioner. Our hemp industry is becoming a legitimate blooming industry because of all of your endless efforts and energy. So thank you very, very much. And I just want to say I appreciate it greatly, and I appreciate that we are, through you guys, setting a nationwide standard and example for all the other states. So thank you, Wayne, Terry, Mitch, and Maureen, and Jessica. Most appreciated. Thank you, that's all I have to say.
Thank you. One last chance, if there's anybody who would like to make any comments? Okay. If you go ahead and come up and identify yourself for the record, and then I'll have you sign it.
Yeah, sorry, I got here late and I didn't sign in.
That's okay.
My name is David Bush. I'm an industrial hemp business attorney. And I just had a few very quick comments here. I wanted to thank Dwayne and everybody else, first of all, for listening to a couple of comments that I didn't have before, and I see that they were taken to heart. I'll just point those out. The definition of certified seed was one that drove me crazy, and it has been cleaned up, and it's much better now. Also, there was that apparent conflict between sections 3.23 and 3.53 on the containers, where one paragraph said different, the other said larger, and I see you harmonized those now, so thank you again for cleaning it up. I had one comment question on the rules that are being proposed, and that has to do with that provision on the male plants, and I'm going to need to talk to some of my clients about whether they truly care about this or not. But in 3.34, 3.64, my question that I need to ask my clients is, would you ever want to make beneficial use of those male plants that are culled? And if so, I just wonder if there isn't some way to actually have two harvest reports and two harvests on the same registered land area. I don't think the rules have ever really contemplated that, but that certainly would be a possibility. If someone wanted to cull male plants and thought that there was something they could do, I don't know if it's to make vegetable sprouts with them or grind them up for some kind of health drink, who knows. But if that is the case, it would be a waste if all that one could do with them is destroy them or use them on the registered land area. So again, I'm just wondering if there isn't some way to actually double up here. And if someone wants to cull male plants, let them go through the whole process. File a harvest report just for the cull plants, go through the THC testing, harvest those, make beneficial use, and then do that again for the female plants when the time is appropriate for those. That's just a thought. That's it. Thank you.
The only written testimony we have received on this rule is the testimony that Don's handed us today.